The Louie Bellina Show, presented by CC Electric, built on faith, family, and community. CC Electric. The Louie Bellina Show, final hour, Monday, and this is how we do it. Coming up, 11:20, ticket booth will open thanks to Dixie Tire Company. I've got 2 pair of tickets to go see the Astros and the Dodgers tomorrow. All Zone, Brian Broadcasting, prize eligibility rules apply. And if you or anyone in your family has won Astros tickets before, not eligible. Not eligible. So coming up shortly, I'm going to open up the ticket booth thanks to Dixie Tire Company. Dixie Tire Company has been serving Bryan College Station, I think it's 36, 37 years now. They're open Monday through Friday till 6, Saturday till 1, and you can always call them at 775-TIRE. Yep, T-I-R-E, 775-TIRE. Coming up, I think 120. I got to listen in. It's the top 10 quarterbacks for 2026 college football. Greg McElroy from his podcast. It's awesome. He loves to talk ball. And also, I'd love to do another text message suite. People are talking Aggie baseball, banana ball, whatever's on your mind. Text 979-693-1150, 979-693-1150. You can light up the Texas Mobile One Lube Express inbox. Texas Mobile One Lube Express, owned by Gabriel Garcia, 979-693-1150. We'll start our final hour back to the diamond. We started our day on the diamond. That was Aggie baseball, softball, but this is Astros Rangers. And Astros won a series. Almost cried. It was so beautiful. They're 5-5 in their last 10. Oh, 500's never felt so good. I mean, not for the year. Don't get carried away, but just for even for a week. It feels good. They lost the Friday game in Boston 3-1. Carlos Correa went yard 3 for 5. And, you know, Mike Burrows got the start. He went 6-3 and just, you know, they only scored a run. But it was like a real baseball game. And how much more can you ask for? Saturday, 6-3. Offense goes medieval. Correa 2 for 4. Christian Walker 3 for 4, 2 RBIs. He goes yard. Bryce Matthews 2 for 3 RBIs. He hits a homer in the game. And Spencer Arrighetti, I talk about him all the time. I've talked about him since last year. And he 5-1, 5 hits, 4 walks. You know, he's been pitching fantastic. Got challenged Saturday. A lot of traffic. Got himself out of jams. The thing that caught my attention the most was first man out of the bullpen was De Los Santos, who had been the closer, started to weaken down. He isn't. I don't think the Astros have a closer right now. I think that Espada's going to go, when it comes to the 9th and they're up 1 or 2, he's just going to be like, who have we not used yet that doesn't scare us to death? Oh, bring him in. But De Los Santos was first out of the pen. He bled a run. Why do they keep bringing Sousa? They won. Wait, calm down. They won. Arrighetti got the dub. He's 4-0 with an ERA of $1.96. Sunday, rubber game. It took 10 innings. Who cares? 3-1. Astros win. Astros win. Christian Walker goes 2 for 4. Cam Smith went 3 for 5. And that 3 hits doubled his total in April of hits. That's a lie. I'm exaggerating for effect. Astros won, and they went bullpen by committee game. That's the truth of it all. Brian Abreu got 2 scoreless innings and got the win. If something were to click, April's done. It's a whole new month. And Brian Abreu had the most fascinating, mind-screwing, I have no idea what happened to him, because like there's no one I've talked to, from a Joe Sheehan to other Astro fans, or even, I read the beat writers like a Chandler Rome. Well, I guess he's the Astro beat writer for The Athletic, but others, and nobody knows what happened to this dude. Sure, maybe he's not a closer, but even once they took him out, he's still getting shelled. But he got the win, 2 scoreless. If there's any bounce back to him. By the way, if you're an Astros fan, tomorrow is kind of this huge day down in the minor league rehab life, because they're throwing Jaime, but also Josh Hader is throwing a little rehab action. Now, don't freak out. Most, like, Hader's not supposed to be to June, which is weird if he's already rehabbing, but big day, big day. Astros took 2 out of 3 from Boston. Won a series. Wherever you are, Tim Schnettler, take that. The Rangers won the Friday game 5-4 and then lost the series. And they were in Detroit. My buddy Casey 18-wheeler must have been happy on that one. The storyline of the weekend, if you're a Texas Rangers fan, they did not get a quality start. They did not get a start. The longest start by anyone involved over the weekend was actually Gore. No, Leiter ended up, by Sunday, I think they had no choice. And Leiter ended up 6 2/3. They left him out there to rot a bit. He gave up 5. High strikeout rate, but still. So Gore on Friday gets the start. 3 2/3, 3 earned. On Saturday, Kumar Rocker gets the start. 2 innings, 5 earned. And then Leiter Sunday, and by this point, the bullpen shot, and they got nothing left. And he goes 6 2/3, 5 earned. It's ugly out there. And remember something, the calling card for the Texas Rangers is their pitching. And they lost 2 out of 3 to Detroit. Very simple style here because they did not get a lick of pitching at all. Yeah, it was pretty gruesome out there. So anyway, Astros take 2 out of 3 from Boston. And for me, being a bona fide, unapologetic Texas Rangers hater, to add on top of that, Astros win a series for the first time, it feels like, in my lifetime, which is an outright lie, but still, that's how it feels. Mixed in with, my best bud, Casey 18-wheeler, getting a Tigers victory, and it's over the Rangers. This might be, I was thinking about this, I should probably not watch another MLB game, read another box score, or care, because this is going to be the highlight of the year. The Astros are going nowhere in a hurry. So, Astros win the series. Tigers win the series, and that's at the Rangers' expense? Yes, please. Greatest weekend ever. That's an exaggeration too, but still. Up next for both teams, well, the Rangers will travel day. They're heading to New York to take on the Yankees Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Off today, travel day. The Astros traveled last night, I guess yesterday afternoon, back home, 3-game series with the Dodgers Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And the 3-game series with the Dodgers Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Tonight, Astros baseball on the Zone, 11:50 a.m. and 93.7 FM, 6:40 pregame, 7:10 first pitch. Astros baseball on the Zone. And select games on Willie 1550 a.m. are thanks to Kelly Burt Dozer. Listen in tonight. I took a look at the standings because I like to entertain myself. The AL West is so bad. Astros are 4.5 back at 14-21. They've won 2 straight, 5-5 in their last 10. I took a look at the last 10. A's 5-5, Rangers 4-6, Angels 2-8, Astros 5-5. There's one team in the AL West that's above 500 in their last 10, and they're 6-4, 1 game above. And it's the Seattle Mariners, who have lost 3 straight. There's a part of me that always says, don't give up. Don't ever give up. And as an Astros fan, they're 4.5 back. You got 4 months to go. You get Hunter Brown back in May. Josh Hader back. Anything's possible, and it's only because you're in the West. Who's going to run and hide in this division? So that's what's next, Astros and Rangers, both of them. I did want to share a story with you. Cincinnati Reds, yesterday, Sunday, playing the Saturday, correction. It was Saturday at PNC Park. They tied an MLB record, which, why tie? Go all in, man. They walked 7 straight Pirates. Reds pitchers walked 7 straight Pirates. The starter was Rhett Lauder. And just so you'll know, he's not a bum. Rhett Lauder entered the game with an ERA of 3.18. Record was 3-1. He entered the bottom of the second, struck out the leadoff man, walked the next 3 hitters. They yank him. They bring in, who is the next pitcher? They brought in, Brandon Phillips, next reliever. Walked the next 4 batters he faced. All bases loaded, by the way. 7 straight, 4 of the walks with the bases loaded. Tied the MLB record for most consecutive walks. Yeah, 7 straight, 4 with the bases loaded. That is just... I really wish I could have watched it, but I'm scared my eyes would have started bleeding. But I still, maybe I'll go back and find. No, I will. Yeah, I will. No, I don't know. I still wish I could have seen it. CBSSports.com every Monday. MLB Power Rankings. It's not good. Rangers 17, and they point out that Josh Young, through the first 5 weeks, 325. 325, a little breakout for Josh Young. So Rangers 17. Houston Astros, 26 out of Thursday. 26. Did I say out of Thursday? 26 out of 30. 26 out of 30. Your top 5 teams in MLB. Braves 1, Yankees 2, America's team, the greatest team in the history of baseball. When you say love, you say Chicago Cubs. They won 15 of 18 and have not lost at home since April 11th. And I say, well, duh. Braves 1, Yankees 2, Cubs 3, Dodgers 4. Don't worry about the Dodgers. They are doing what dynasties do. Regular season boredom. These games mean nothing until the postseason starts, where they'll probably win 20 straight, not drop a game, and run rule everyone, even though there is no run rule in MLB. Tampa Bay 5. Here's your worst 3 teams. Remember, the Astros are 26, so here's the worst 3. 28, Giants. 29, the New York Mets. They paid a lot of money to be that bad. And in their bottom 3 favorite, the Angels, Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim County, are 30, which means the Colorado Rockies, they might stink, but they don't stink worse than those 3. Where's Matt Simon? Anybody know where Matty Stats is? Someone hug him. The Rockies are no longer bottom 3 bad. That's progress where we come from. Before we take a timeout, April's done. ESPN.com assigned a letter grade for the start. You know why I'm laughing. You have to. Because, what letter grade do you think the Astros got for their start? I didn't even have to, click the link to see the Astro one. That was a gimme, but the letter grade. The letter grade start for each MLB team for the first month. And there were how many teams that got an A? There was 3, 4, 5 teams got an A total. Atlanta Braves, A+, only A. New York Yankees, A. America's team, when you say this name, you think love. The greatest team in the history of baseball, the Chicago Cubs, got an A-. Tampa Bay Rays, A-. St. Louis Cardinals, A-. So there are only 5 teams that got the A zip code. The Texas Rangers got a C. And here's something I didn't realize. I'll share it with you. They write up, quote, one of the oddest things in recent years has been the transformation of Globe Life Field from a hitter's park to an extreme pitcher's park. And the trend continues in 2026. Rangers are hitting .217 with 7 home runs in 15 home games. In 18 road games, they're hitting .250 with 24 home runs. And the pitchers have a .273 ERA at home and .425 on the road. So for them, Rangers got a C grade for their start, for the month of April. And they point out Globe Life Field and its effect, where used to be big-time hitters, now it's big-time pitchers. And finally, what letter grade do you think the Astros got for their start? If you said F, ding, 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 winner, winner, somebody got a chicken dinner. Yep, they got an F. And the pitching staff is on a historical level of awful. That's why. When we return, ticket booth will open thanks to Dixie Tire Company. When we return, the listen-in, top 10 quarterbacks college football for the upcoming season. This is the Louie Bellina Show, presented by CC Electric. This is the Louie Bellina Show from inside the Charles Schwab studio, Monday on The Zone.
You can get the podcasts of Texangs Live, The Louie Bellina Show, or Chip Howard at zone1150.com, Google Play, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify.
It is the Louie Bellina Show. Wrapping things up. Down the stretch we come. That's a lot better. On the Louie Bellina Show Monday edition, presented by CC Electric. Listen in. This is part one. Greg McElroy, Always College Football Podcast. This is part one of the top 10 quarterbacks for 2026.
Before we get into the top 10, we need to move quickly through some guys that really garnered some consideration when putting the top 10 list together. These are guys that you got to track that could very easily force their way into the national conversation by week 2. And in some cases, guys with some pretty good situations, maybe there's just a little uncertainty surrounding their situation. I couldn't quite commit a top 10 spot to them, not with a clean conscience at least, but really like what these guys put on tape last year. We'll start with CJ Bailey at NC State. His returning starter has been around. He's shown enough that has kind of kept the Wolfpack very competitive. It's kind of a wide open conference, very bullish on his prospects this upcoming season. Bear Bachmeier, and by the way, this is in alphabetical order based on the last name. So if you're curious, well, why is Bailey here? No, it's all about alphabetical order by the last name, okay? Bachmeier last year is a true freshman, led BYU to a remarkable start, right? First time freshman done it since his son Hank Bachmeier, did it back at Boise State. Went for over 33,000 yards. Great as a runner, we know that. Now as a sophomore, hoping that he takes a big step. Very dangerous player that could be really good here in year number 2. Rocco Becht is in there as well. Transfer from Iowa State, over 3,500 passing yards on his resume last year. Really good from a pocket efficiency standpoint. Much needed stability at the position that Penn State has not had the last couple of years. Also on the list, Anthony Calandria, now at Nebraska. Was at UNLV, dual threat playmaker, now stepping onto a bigger stage inside the Big Ten. Devin Dampier, Utah, was the newcomer of the year in the Big 12 last year offensively. We know he's super dynamic, really good touchdown interception ratio, added over 800 rushing yards as well. First quarterback at Utah to crack 2,000 passing yards and 600 rushing yards in a single season since Alex Smith did it 20 years ago. Decided to stay in Salt Lake. Didn't want to follow Kyle Whittingham. Not sure he had the option to, given what Michigan has up there as well. His OC's gone as well. So does enter this season with a little bit of uncertainty, but is certainly the centerpiece of what Morgan Scaley, new offense coordinator Kevin McGinn, are going to try to do on that side of the ball. So losing a couple of first-round picks along the offensive line is tough, but this is a great player, Devin Dampier. Noah Fafita from Arizona as well. Very experienced player in the Big 12, super efficient, very accurate. Can put up elite numbers if Arizona can get the weapons taken care of around him. Josh Hoover, Indiana, one that narrowly missed making the top 10. This guy's thrown for nearly 10,000 career passing yards. He leads the FBS in returning production in 2026. Got 71 career passing touchdowns. Has completed over 65% of his career, and he's a starter at the defending national champ. So it's going to be a great situation for him. The turnovers are what kept him outside the top 10, but a really good player that you need to keep an eye on. Could very easily force his way onto the list here at some point in the very near future. Brad Jackson at Texas State is next. Very underreported. Not a lot of people are familiar with this young man, but he can run it. Had 16 rushing touchdowns last year. He led the Sun Belt in completion percentage, led him in yards per attempt, and his passer rating was really good as well. So if Texas State can get him some national exposure here in 26, you'll start hearing his name. He's one of the few guys that had great success at the G5 level that decided to stay at the G5 level from last year to this year. Avery Johnson at Kansas State as well. Dual threat player in a system, knows exactly how to utilize some dual threat weaponry, now entering into year 3 as a starter there in Manhattan. Colton Joseph at Wisconsin. Now, he was at ODU last year. One of the more interesting quarterback storylines in the Big Ten. Went for over 2,600 yards, over 1,000 rushing yards last year. One of only 2 quarterbacks in the entire FBS to go for over 2,500 and 1,000. So this guy can do it, man. He can really do it. Now at Wisconsin, a program that's lost a lot of quarterbacks to injury the last few years. If the O-line can hold and Joseph can stay healthy, he could be very intriguing to keep track of throughout the rest of the way. Jaren Kiwi Sagapulitelli, that's Cal. He was one of the top true freshmen in the sport last season. Had a tremendous debut, by the way. Most by any true freshman in the country last year at over 3,400 yards. Had some big upset moments against Louisville and against SMU. In those games, combined for over 650 and 6 touchdowns. And now he's going to his sophomore year. And to keep into perspective just how important he is to new head coach Tosh Lupoi, he went out and flew on a late night flight to Hawaii just to make sure that JKS decided to stay out of the portal. That's how much this kid matters to the future success of the Cal Golden Bears. Sam Levitt at LSU is next. Would probably be in the top 10 if not for an injury last year that ended his 25 season. Now he's in a tremendous situation at LSU. There's just a lot of things that are currently unknown. He's 16-4 as a starter. We know that. He was in our top 5 last year, and I think he could very easily be there again. We just got to make sure he's healthy. We got to know he's going to be in good shape come September. John Mateer at Oklahoma is next, and he led Oklahoma to the college football playoff in his first year in Norman. That's a lot. That's their first playoff berth since 2019. But it did have some growing pains. First 3 games were outstanding. The last handful of games after he broke his thumb, not quite as productive. And the most glaring statistic was 14 touchdown passes against 11 interceptions. The completion percentage dropped a little bit too from where he was at Washington State to where he was at Oklahoma. Like I said, the thumb injury is the main thing. But now he's here playing in the second year at Oklahoma, full off season, being healthy and working specifically on his mechanics. He's kind of a sidearm thrower, so I'd like to see him a little bit more over the top. And based on how he's performed so far in the spring, there's a lot of reasons to believe he's going to be a better, smarter, more capable player than he was just a year ago. So very excited about where John Mateer might be heading this upcoming season. But right now, just narrowly missing the top 10. Marcel Reed is next at Texas A&M. Look, we know he's crazy gifted. Unbelievably physically impressive. Dual threat quarterback. He's got something to prove this year. Now, he's had some great moments. If you look at the performances, the second half against South Carolina, how he performed against Notre Dame. But there has been a little inconsistency from time to time. He has a new offensive coordinator, Holman Wiggins, who's trying to get those inconsistent moments out of him. But if it happens, look out. And this guy's a legitimate Heisman Trophy contender. Lenoris Sellers at South Carolina. A little bit of a rough 2025 based on the enormous expectations that he went into the season with. Has a new offensive coordinator, an offensive line that's been a little bit up and down. The production at wide receiver hasn't been great. This is a guy that was all SEC a couple years ago. He's stayed, and now he's got a new OC in Kendall Briles. And head coach Shane Beamer, man, he says he's been really pleased with the development he's seen from Sellers this spring. And he's really adapted quickly to Briles' system because the tools are there. We know that. I mean, the tools will make NFL scouts salivate. They're still there. But the right offensive situation could bring out the best in what Lenoris Sellers could be this season. Bryce Underwood at Michigan, also on the honorable mention list. He was the number 1 overall recruit a couple years ago, right? And it was an okay year. It was fine. Not amazing, not disappointing by any stretch. New system now coming in, though, with Jason Beck coming over with Kyle Whittingham to be the OC. And the spring game mixed, right? Not a ton of reps, not a ton of opportunities. And if you listen to their coaching staff, it said it didn't really reflect the progress that they've seen throughout spring, but they are encouraged by his growth. And I still love the mix between him and his new offensive coordinator. I think Coach Beck will bring out the best in Bryce Underwood, but it is a new system. There could potentially be some growing pains before the potential breakthrough that we might get down the road in the season. And then finally, on the honorable mention board is Connor Wigman at Houston. When he's been healthy, he's been super accurate. I think he showed growth as an athlete last year, too. He ran the ball really well. And we know that he can push the ball down the field. So staying healthy is going to be big, but he can certainly have a big year for the Cougars if all things go according to plan. Now, before we get into the top 10, I want to spend a little time on 2 guys that just narrowly missed the list because leaving these 2 guys off, frankly, didn't feel good. But I want y'all to understand exactly why they're here as opposed to being in the top 10. We'll start with Drew Mestemaker at Oklahoma State. Now, we know he's been one of the great stories in college football, never starting a game as a quarterback in high school. He walks on at North Texas. leads the entire FBS with nearly 4,400 passing yards. He had 34 touchdowns against just 9 interceptions, completed almost 70% of his passes, and won 12 games. And a first time of competing in the conference championship game. So setting school records along the way is pretty dang impressive. He won the Burlsworth Trophy, which is given to the nation's best player who started their career as a walk-on. But this is not a group of 5 story, right? This is a college football story. Now is a big step up in competition. He transfers to Oklahoma State. He transfers with his head coach, Eric Morris, who clearly there's a great relationship between quarterback and coaching staff. And nothing about the offense changes. You got same coordinator, same scheme, same everything. The only variable is the level of competition that you're going to be playing on the other side of the ball. And that variable is the reason why he's in the first 2 out category instead of at number 10 or number 9 on this list. He's not yet faced a high-level Power 4 defense. So the first time he drops back at a Big 12 game and picks apart a Power 4 secondary the way he did in the American last few years, this conversation is going to change very, very quickly. So by week 8, y'all are going to be asking me, well, why wasn't he on the list to begin with? The guy's incredible. Well, that's why. Because as of this moment, I can't put him in there because he hasn't played against the top competition that the sport has to offer. If I'm leaving Mestamaker out, you're probably going to understand why I'm leaving this guy out as well. It's Byron Brown, who is at Auburn. He was amazing with the USF Bulls the last couple of years, right? He was awesome. Had 42 total touchdowns in 2025. He was one of the top guys in the G5 as far as efficiency and grades. Went for over 1,000 yards on the ground, had 6 games in which he went for over 100, and he threw for over 3,100 yards. Now, he's been amazing, right? We understand that. I mean, him and Jaden Daniels are the only players to have 3,000-yard passing and 800-plus rushing yards in the same regular season. However, it was out South Florida. It was in the AAC. Now he's at Auburn. So here's the detail that makes the thing unique. So when Coach Golish left USF for Auburn, Brown followed him and brought the entire offense with him, right? He's got a lot of guys that he's very familiar with, a lot of those receivers. His number 1, number 2, number 4, and number 5 pass catchers from a year ago are all with him right now on the Plains. So they've built a lot of chemistry over the last year, and that's not a normal transfer situation, right? It's the entire offense being transplanted. However, the SEC is a very different animal, and that's the only legitimate question. So you've seen all the production. You've seen him play against top caliber competition. He's played against Miami. He's played against Florida. He's done some big things over the last few years, but to do it week in and week out is a very different variable. So same as Mestamaker, him and Brown, Power 4 competition, that is the unknown, and that unknown keeps them out of the top 10 right now. But watch them closely as the season progresses.
That is part 1 of our listening. Greg McElroy, top 10 quarterbacks for 2026. So when we return on the other side of this timeout, the actual top 10 list. I love college football. McElroy talks ball. I bring it to the Louie Bellina Show so you can listen in too. I'll be right back. It's the Louie Bellina Show presented by CC Electric, Monday on The Zone.
Your home for Aggie baseball is the Zone 1150 AM and 93.7 FM.
The Louie Bellina Show, Monday, inside the Charles Schwab studio. The Louie Bellina Show, I said inside the Charles Schwab studio. You know that as a fact. Low cost, full service, best of all local. That is Schwab. You get to visit Mark Sim right here in College Station. Who? Mark Sim right here in College Station. That's why it's best of all local. Find them online at schwab.com/College Station. Charles Schwab and Company Incorporated, member SIPC. Time now, part 2. It is Greg McElroy, his Always College Football podcast. Top 10 quarterbacks for the 2026 college football season.
At number 10, it's Damon Williams from Washington. Now, I want to be upfront with you because there was a version of this offseason where I thought maybe he could be a little higher, and there was some portal drama, and you look at the sequence. He's going in, starting quarterback, has a very productive season. He's very dynamic. I mean, just dynamic all across the board. He reminds me a lot of Kyler Murray from a skill set standpoint. When I watch him and the way he runs around, creates, there are some similarities there. Then he goes in the portal. There's some legal action. Agent drops him, all this other stuff, right? He says he's staying. There's a little bit of drama there. But what I do think when you watch him as a player, nearly 70% completion. First year as a full-time starter, nearly 9 yards an attempt. So it's not like he's checking the ball down. I mean, he's doing a lot of things down the field as well. And of course, over 600 rushing yards made him one of the more productive quarterbacks running the football in Washington history. So this is his now junior year in Jedd Fisch's offense, which is going to be really helpful to kind of unlock the potential of this skill set. I think if you look at these games, like he's got some big opportunities this year against Indiana, against Oregon. It didn't really materialize for him last year against top-tier competition. But if he plays the way he's capable of playing in November, when he gets the Indianas and the Oregons of the world, this conversation could change very, very fast. So he is in at number 10. At number 9, Gunnar Stockton, Georgia. He went into 2025 as a first-year starter and came out the other side having started a bunch of games. He wins the SEC championship game MVP, was tremendous in that performance, gets the team to the college football playoff, and finishes in the top 7 of the Heisman Trophy voting. Now, here's what the whole season looked like. 2,900 yards, 24 touchdowns against just 5 picks. He also added 460 on the ground and 10 rushing touchdowns. He led the SEC in rushing touchdowns last year, and he was in the top 6 in the country as it relates to QBR. So, look, you also look at his performance against ranked competition. He has 5 wins as a first-year starter against ranked competition, including beating Alabama convincingly in the SEC championship game. The big question, though, is how well will he push it down the field if necessary? If you look at his numbers, a lot of his damage was done on throws that were at or behind the line of scrimmage. Had very few attempts that traveled more than 20 yards downfield. So he's a point guard and has been great. Great distributor, gets it out quickly, gets it out accurately, and is really relentless. I mean, he's relentless. And also, if you watch him, he's just tough as nails. I think he is tough as nails. But he hasn't really been asked to carry the team with his arm. Doesn't mean he can't, just means he hasn't had the opportunity to. He's one of the most efficient quarterbacks in the country. I don't think he's limited by any stretch from a physical skill set standpoint, but now is about just taking that next step and entering year 2 as the starter under Kirby Smart. The infrastructure has been put in place for him to play well every single week. And if Georgia wins the SEC title again in 2026, Gunnar Stockton is likely the number 1 reason why. That's why he's in at number 9. At number 8, it's Brennan Sorsby. Now, he was probably, or if not the most coveted quarterback in the 26 transfer portal cycle, but he was certainly in the mix, right? I mean, a lot of teams apparently willing to offer $3, $4, $5 million, and Sorsby was in that top tier. Spent the last couple years in Cincinnati, was at Indiana prior to that, and by the time he left the Bearcats, I mean, he has built a resume that demands an awful lot of respect. If you look at last year, the rushing numbers, the passing numbers, had 9 scores on the ground by himself. He was 3rd in the Big 12 in yards per attempt. He was 2nd in the conference in completions of 40-plus yards. And I think he's a guy that will attack. I mean, he can do an awful lot. He's, according to some publications, one of the top 3 quarterbacks in college football behind Julian Sayin and Dante Moore. I don't have him quite that high because he lands at Texas Tech, and the offense is designed to let these quarterbacks kind of push the pace a bit to kind of allow this group to operate at full throttle. Now, the counter argument right now for him not being top 3 is that there's a lot of new. Like, we know what Brennan Sorsby was at Cincinnati. He was excellent, right? We have not seen this version of him just yet. In the Big 12, yes, we've seen it. At Texas Tech, we have not. This is an offense that is really well suited to what he does. We're about to find out if some of that efficiency that we saw in Cincinnati, if it translates to Lubbock. I am really bullish on this young man, though. This is about as low as he can be, sitting there at number 8, but wouldn't be surprised if, when we see him operate this offense, if he climbs the ladder a little bit as the season goes along. At number 7 is Darian Mensah. He was at Duke last year, and the transfer from Duke to Miami was one of the more complicated roster transactions we've seen. Duke's filed a lawsuit. Mensah eventually reaches a settlement, and now he's a Hurricane. What he did at Duke, though, was amazing. He led the ACC in passing yards and touchdowns. He led the ACC in completions of 10-plus yards. He led the Blue Devils to their first ACC championship game since I was born, basically. That was their first title since 1989. He had 34 touchdowns against just 6 interceptions. So in his 2 seasons as a starter, in Tulane in 24 and at Duke in 25, he's got 58 touchdown passes against just 12 interceptions. So to be about 5-to-1 touchdown interception ratio over 2 full years is pretty significant. Now he brings with him his top receiver from Duke and Cooper Barcade. He's going to be with him in Miami, but they already have a tremendous supporting cast with Mark Fletcher. We already know Malachi Toney's one of the best players in the entire sport, regardless of position. I think he's a guy right now that is way under the radar when it comes to the Heisman Trophy conversation. He's walking in to by far the most loaded offensive environment that he's ever had. And if you look at what Miami's done the last couple of years with Cam Ward 2 years ago, Carson Beck last year, there's a lot to like about the opportunity that sits right in front of Darian Mensah as he continues to build on what's been a terrific college career at this point. I think if you look at him right now, sprinkle a little bit on him as a possible dark horse Heisman contender as well. He will be in the mix. At number 6 is Trinidad Chambliss, Ole Miss. He's probably one of the more remarkable players, one of the more remarkable stories entering into 2026. If you look at where he was a year ago, he would not have sniffed this list, not even thought about it, not even close, right? Starts his career at Ferris State. That's a Division II school, missed 2022 with some respiratory issues, led to a tonsillectomy. He transfers to Ole Miss where he's expected to be the backup. Then the starter, Austin Simmons, goes down with an injury week 2. Chambliss takes the field, and the SEC has not quite been the same ever since. He throws for nearly 4,000 yards. That's the most by any SEC quarterback last year and accounted for over 4,400 total yards of offense when you take into account what he did as a runner. He also completed 66% of his passes. He rushed for 8 scores on the ground. He was the newcomer of the year in the SEC, but his defining moment was the Sugar Bowl victory against Georgia. And to take the game over the way he took the game over there in third quarter, fourth quarter was remarkable. And he leads Ole Miss to a college football playoff semifinal. And it was looking like there for a moment he wasn't going to be available. And you had the Supreme Court involved and the Mississippi Supreme Court and all these injunctions and appeals and the NCAA against him. Well, now that things are cleared, he's good to go. And his contract reflects greatness as well. He's one of the highest paid players in the sport. After he talked to spring reporters, after he talked to reporters kind of during the spring, there's a lot of confidence coming from him. He believed he would be back. His confidence never wavered. And even though Lane Kiffin's gone and his offensive coordinator, Charlie Weiss, is gone as well, Pete Golding, the new head coach, brings in an offensive coordinator in John David Baker from East Carolina to run the offense. And if you listen to Trinidad, he said, it's basically the same offense, which is big. So there's a lot of similarities between what JDB runs, John David Baker runs, and what Charlie Weiss Jr. ran. And that's the kind of continuity that can lead to improved performance from their quarterback. And we all know what's coming up on September 19th, right? LSU will be in Oxford, and that'll be the first time that Chambliss and Kiffin share a field, right? And I think that one will be widely viewed and consumed. I think a lot of people will be watching that one for sure. He's number 2, number 3, depending on the odds to win the Heisman this year, and rightfully so. He's one of the most electric players in the sport.
That wraps up our listen-in. Greg McElroy, again, as always, College Football Podcast, top 10 quarterbacks for the upcoming 2026 season. If you were listening in carefully, Marcel Reed didn't make the top 10, but he did make the honorable mention list. And I think all us Aggies, if Marcel Reed levels up, and he leveled up last offseason, didn't he? He really did. He could single-handedly carry this team to the college football playoff and the Final Four of the college football playoff, because that's the next level for him. If he levels up, he could single-handedly take this team to the college football playoff. We'll grab a timeout, come back. We'll wrap things up on a Monday. It is the Louie Bellina Show, presented by CC Electric. Residential, commercial, and industrial services. It's what they do at CC Electric.
ESPN Radio has the score. The Score. Check in weeknights and weekends here on The Zone.
It is the Louie Bellina Show. where it's a safe place if you love Star Wars. You're more than welcome to hang out with me. I said this in the first hour. I'm a Star Wars geek. I'm a Star Wars nerd. I'm pro Star Wars. So proudly, I have no problem with that. We're going to wrap things up inside, and today is Star Wars Day. May the 4th be with you. And tomorrow's Cinco de Mayo on Taco Tuesday. This might be the strongest back-to-back non-traditional holidays in the history of non-traditional holidays ever. Celebrate wisely. Be safe, my friends. Stay thirsty. We're going to end things in the lifestyles portion of the Louie Bellina Show. I want you to think 60 seconds. Any longer than that, you might hurt yourself. But if you could, one word to sum up the year 2026 to date. We're 4 months in, starting month 5. I'm bad with math. That's right. Am I right on that? 4 months in, starting month 5. One word only to describe 2026 so far. Okay, I'm not going to give you 60 seconds. I'll give you 15 seconds more. One word only. There was a survey and asking Americans that one word. Now, the word that finished second was the word challenging. And that's very nondescriptive. I think that's a weak word, but that's my opinion, right? The average person has said they've dealt with 2 major unexpected life changes this year alone. 2 major unexpected life changes this year alone. That, I'll tell you what now, if you're that person, and that's average too. I can't imagine. Okay, I don't want to overly share. I myself have dealt with one major life-altering change in this year alone. And I have no idea how someone could do it too. So the one word that, according to this survey, stressful. The word is stressful. Is that your word to describe 2026 so far? Stressful. There was a separate study that also found that 1 in 3 Americans say they're currently going through an existential crisis, with Gen Z feeling the most. Of course they do. Of course Gen Z does feel it the most. Now, if you want to fight off those feelings of an existential crisis, take a walk, quit getting the news alerts, listen to music, spending time with your friends. Whenever I hear these kind of things, all I hear them say is go live life. If you think you're having an existential, if you want to combat the feelings of challenging, of stress, of an existential crisis, go live life. That's all go take a walk. Listen to music. Spend times with your friends. Go live life. Don't live in isolation. Go do something. I don't feel like it. Oh, man. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it eat chili. I don't know how the saying goes, but yeah, go live life. That's what you need to do. People are a lot less depressed if they live life. Life doesn't have to be as challenging if you go live life. You have a lot less anxiety if you go live life. You can fight and combat these things if you go live life. That's just my view of the universe. Take it for what it's worth, return the change. One last from the lifestyles portion, and this is not happy, joy. Gas prices. According to AAA, the national average gas price yesterday, Sunday, $4.44 a gallon. That was the national average. And that's just regular gas. It's up more than 30 cents from just a week ago, and it's up $1.30 from last year at this exact same time. And it's an all-time record price for May, $4.44 a gallon. The highest average price ever was June of 2022, Russian invasion of Ukraine. It hit $5.01 a gallon in the U.S. This time, it's the Iran war. The average of $4.44, some states were higher. It was $6 a gallon in California, $5 a gallon in Washington, Oregon, Nevada, Alaska, and Hawaii. And it was just short of $5 in Ohio, Indiana, Michigan, and Illinois. But we live in Texas. Woo! just below $4. We were on the low end here in Texas. Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, Nebraska, Iowa, Mizzou, Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Bama, and Georgia stayed just under $4. But yeah, AAA, $4.44 a gallon, highest ever in May. A new record was hit. I got to go. I'm back tomorrow at 11. Have an amazing Monday, everybody. Thanks for hanging out with me. Peace.
Everything in life has rules, and the Zone has prize rules for all contesting. You can check them out at zone1150.com. You may know you can win once every 30 days. There can only be one winner per household per month. You have 30 days to pick up your prizes. You have to be 18 or older to win. You have to present a legal ID to claim your prize. All prizes are non-transferable and not for resale. To make sure you do know all the rules, or if you have any questions about the prize rules, make sure to visit zone1150.com.
Zone1150.com.